Tell me where it hurts, and I'll fix it. I am the God that healeth thee.
The Bible says in Psalm 147 verse 3 that the Lord heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And you know, the worst scars are not the ones on the body, but the ones on the heart. And God specializes in binding those, because brokenness is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of God's glory. The Bible says that the Lord is near those who have a broken heart, and he saves such as have a contrite spirit. Because a broken heart feels like dying on the inside. Extreme grief, depression, loss of hope. A broken heart is heavy, but never too heavy for the hands of God. Hopelessness is the devil's tool, but healing is God's answer. And you've got to believe this. I mean, imagine when impatience wounds an entire family. Abraham, Sarah, Hagar. I mean, Genesis chapter 16 verse 1 and 2, that now Sarah, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children, and she had an Egyptian maidservant whose name was Hagar. So Sarah said to Abraham, "See now, the Lord has restrained me from bearing children. Please go into my maid, and perhaps I shall obtain children by her." And Abraham heeded the voice of Sarah. You know, impatience is the thief of promise. When you rush God's plan, you inherit Ishmael instead of Isaac. Division in the family is the devil's favorite doorway. And years later, God revisits Abraham. In Genesis 21 verse 12, but God said to Abraham, "Do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad, or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice. For in Isaac your seed shall be called." Now, friends, God is not preventing the miracle. He's preparing you to handle it. Delay with God is not denial. It is training for the glory that is ahead of you. And I know that sometimes being abandoned can come with a certain kind of pain, but there's a God who stays. Some of you know the desert that Hagar walked in. You felt the sun of shame. You've felt the thirst of rejection. But listen, the Bible says in Psalm 27 verse 10 that when my father and my mother forsake me, it says, then the Lord will care and take care of me. Because man may abandon you, but God adopts you. When Hagar cried, heaven answered. Your tears are prayers in liquid form. And rejection by man often sets the stage for reception by God. And our world, sort of just puts us in a box. And the Bible pulls the fire alarm to say, hey, there's the way that seems right to a man, but in the end of that way is death. In Proverbs chapter 14 verse 12. So attraction without covenant is destruction in disguise. The hookup culture manufactures heartbreak faster than it manufactures love. Matthew chapter 15 verse 14 says, let them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind leads the blind, both will fall into a ditch. So if you let culture define your love life, you will end up in a ditch. Blind love without God's light will always crash. So Jesus lifts our eyes back to the beginning. In Mark chapter 10 verse 6 to 9, the Bible says that, but from the beginning of the creation, that God made them male and female, and for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So then they are no longer two but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no man separate. Marriage is not about finding the perfect person. It's about reflecting the perfect God. One flesh means one fight, one faith, one future. The glue of marriage is not romance but covenant. And that's why God hates divorce. Not because he hates people, but because he hates the pain that it brings to the lives that he created and he wants to steward. Friends, if you feel crushed, God is close. A broken heart in God's hands becomes a healed heart in time. And I know that the devil uses heartbreak to destroy you, but God uses it to deepen you. And some of you listening to me, you're boxing your spouse with words, with jabs and silent treatment. A house divided is a house defeated. And in marriage, one flesh means you fight the lies and not each other. Because in the grand scheme of things, the things that make you fight are not as big as what you're fighting for. Marriage is not a mirror for self-glory. It's a window for Christ's glory. And if you're single, start practicing covenant with God now. Impatience should not write your story. Let the promise of God write your story. Renounce counterfeit love. Choose covenant over convenience. And receive the ministry of the healer to your heart. Friends, it's super important that we trust God with everything, including our brokenness. There's a God who knows how to handle the heaviness of your heart. Have a blessed day, friends.